What's up, everybody? So we're talking about vibe coding today. So what does it mean? You hear this probably around all over the internet, vibe coding this, vibe coding that. So I want to cover what it is, the basics of it, and then show you what you can actually build and something that I've built for my wife using Replit, which is one of the platforms. It's a vibe coding platform. All right, so let's get into it. So um, in the past, if you wanted to build something, an application, web application, mobile application, right, you have to get a developer involved, pay thousands of dollars. It would take months to build something that you wanted. If it's something like really complicated, sure, yeah, it takes a long time to build and it costs a lot of money. But if you wanted something simple, to improve some efficiency in your business, for example, you still have to get a developer involved. You have to go the hiring process and find somebody, how much they're going to charge, etc. That's all changed, right, with vibe coding. So what the heck is vibe coding? So the difference between vibe coding and traditional coding or development work is, so if you're a developer, you are explicitly writing code instructions line by line, telling the system what to do, right? So you write your code and then a compiler takes that information and turns it into machine language, right? So the computer can understand. Now, if you make a mistake anywhere in your code, like you miss a semicolon or a period or whatever, right? The whole thing will not be compilable. You have to fix that. And a lot of times the platforms that developers use, they're smart enough to show you, okay, here in this line, you have an error or whatever. And so you go and you fix it and you continue doing your thing, right? But um, basically, it's not very forgivable if you make a mistake in there. So vibe coding, on the other hand, is you have no idea how to code, really, right? You've never written code, but you're expressing your vision of what you want to build to the AI in something like a chat box or a chat GPT looking style. I'll show you in Replit, for example. You're describing your vision and you let the AI handle the coding for you. It'll fix the bugs for you if it finds it. And you basically say, oh, okay, create a website. I'm gonna have 5 pages for this website: homepage, about us page, contact page, service page, etc. I want the homepage to look like this. I want it to have these different sections, and I want the colors to be this way. And then it starts building, right? Enter, it starts building. You could then see, oh, I don't like the button color here. Can you change the button to this color or make the font this way? So you're expressing your vision. You're telling what the vibe of the um, application or whatever you're building should be, and the AI handles it, right? So again, so we covered this already, right? So high cost of development in the past, even now, you're relying on a developer and etc. And then now with vibe coding, you're using AI agents. It's really, really low cost to enter. The barrier of entry is like really low for somebody to start tinkering around and build something useful for themselves and their business. 20-25 bucks a month gives you enough credits to start, experimenting with this stuff and build something actually. And you're sitting there, you're doing all the changes yourself, but you're typing away, right? You're just telling it what you want. You're not actually coding anything yourself. So this vibe coding term was from Andrej. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Karpathy. But essentially, it's moving away from the traditional specific coding in some language, C++, JavaScript, whatever it is, HTML, to just you're managing the outcome, right? You're like a project manager, sort of. You're like, I want to build a website, and this is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to do, and then AI does it for you. And you're prompting, basically. So, what are some of the platforms that I've seen? So Replit, which I have it, I'll show it to you guys what it looks like. There's Lovable, there's Bolt, there's V0, VO, whatever it's called, Cursor. So there's like a spectrum of vibe coding platforms. Okay, so on the left is like the really, really simple, pretty graphical interface. You don't lift a finger as far as coding. You don't have to understand anything. And that, I think, is more of that's where kind of like Lovable is. and I think there's another one called Bubble. And then as you gradually move towards the center or the right, I would say it gets a little bit more flexible. The tool gives you more options. If you know coding, you could actually, instead of vibe coding all the time, you could go and adjust things code. You could adjust the code yourself, fix certain things yourself. And then all the way to the right, it's not really vibe coding anymore, but if you're a developer, you have your environment where you actually write your code, you could attach an interface, the AI model of your choice, and then have that AI kind of help you as you're coding. But you're still doing the heavy lifting on there. But so Replit, Lovable, Bolt, even Cursor, Bubble, all of these things are vibe coding platforms. They're towards the left and left center kind of. So some of them give you more flexibility and more power in terms of you going and changing things, as I mentioned. And some of them are just purely like, AI handles everything. You don't really mess around with code, fixing this and fixing that. You just type away and just say what you want. So Replit. So Replit looks like this, right? This is something I created for my wife. This isn't Replit. This is something I created with Replit. But Replit looks like, let me just kind of move this over. So move my face over here. So you've got, this is the interface. This is the web interface. There's a software you could install on your workstation if you wanted to use a local installation. So you just type away, right? So let me just show. So like here's the console. It shows you what's going on. You could publish. It shows you the workspace files. Like these are all the files it generated for my project. This is the preview. But essentially, let me just go maybe to the home. So you log on and you've got an interface like this, right? It's like, what do you want to create, right? Describe your idea. And then if I type /, these are all the integrations that I could tell it to connect to. Using Anthropic, for example, Dropbox to bring in files and things like that. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, right? I can connect to. But and then there's this beta. I haven't tested this design in beta, but building it, you're just essentially saying, build me a 5-page website that has a homepage about us, contact service, home, about, contact service, and what else? Let's say terms and conditions page. I'm in the digital marketing services niche, something like that, right? And so it's going to start building. Now, this is not the way you should do it. I mean, I'm just showing the interface and everything. But as it's doing this, let me go back to our slide here. So Lovable, you could check these out yourself. Just you can create an account. This is what Lovable looks like. I created this AI assistant in Lovable. Let me see if I can. And this is actually a little connected to N8N. It's a different platform, but this is Lovable. Like you start typing away just like Replit. There's an interface, and you tell it what you want, right? And then so down here, these are all different kinds of things created in the community with Lovable, websites mostly, web applications, etc. And then so this is something that I had created that's kind of talking to N8N, which is a different platform for automations. Like, it's an assistant. This is what N8N looks like, kind of going a little tangent here, but that Lovable interface is talking to this backend AI, which is kind of orchestrating a bunch of different things depending on what I'm asking it to do, right? So if I'm here talking to the agent right here, what is the current Well, weather in Glendale, California, as an example. So this is now talking to the end-to-end AI agent, and then the agent handles all of the back end, going fetching and figuring out, finding out on the internet where Glendale, California is and what the weather is, getting all that data and then spitting it back here. So this was built in Lovable, really simple interface. You could make it a lot nicer, complicated. You could build a website with it, but that's what Lovable looks like. And so this right now is, so going back to Replit. So Replit now, it's telling me what it's going to do, and then I'm going to approve it, build the entire app, start with the design, 5 to 10 minutes. It's going to take 20 minutes. So I would pick this and say, okay, start designing. I'm not going to do it because I don't really need this, but you would say, okay, start with the design. It's going to design, show it to you. Do you like it? You make changes and then apply, right? And then it's going to start building the code. But so that's Lovable. Bolt is another one. You can check that out. Cursor is another one. Cursor gives you more flexibility and power if you're a developer. You could actually do more with it, like let AI handle a lot of the lifting. But if you want to go and you want to adjust certain things yourself, you're able to do in Cursor and in Replit as well a little bit, I think. I haven't done it because I'm not a developer, but Cursor allows you to do a lot more in terms of like you getting your hands dirty in the code if you want to. And so what's like the strategy, right? So you don't want to just get in there and start typing like what I just did, build me a website. Okay. You should create a document like specifically what your vision is and what you need. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you're building something like what I had built, right? So this open house, it's not an open house CRM per se, but what this application is, it's a web application I built for my wife that I'm still kind of finalizing. So basically, she goes to open houses, and then she wanted electronic means of having people sign in with their name, email, phone. It's a one-page legal little thing that they have to sign off on that says that she can talk to them and show them around. And so she wanted to automate that or digitize that. And then that would be lead capture, right, for her. So these people would be added to some kind of a CRM that she has. And so she would walk around with this tablet with this application open. She would start the open house, say this is the property address and all that stuff. And then she would allow people to sign in with the tablet instead of pen and paper. That information, once they're signed in, everybody would be in this application, and then she's talking to them individually. She can then make notes on who she spoke with, what they wanted, did they have an agent, did they need an agent, what kind of house they want, how ready are they when to buy a house. So all that information she would capture in this program that I built, and then later, and then when it's all over, after the open house is over, she would go and analyze what she's collected, who she spoke with, make some final touches, and then she could print all that information if she wanted to. She can export it to a Google Sheet if she wanted to, and then she could import that into her main CRM if she wanted to, which is the whole idea, to import into her CRM so she can do nurturing and follow up and speak to them. But all of that would be captured. Now, what was she doing before this was all manual. So paper printed, people signing each individual paper. She would have to keep notes in her head, who she spoke with, what they wanted, right? And then she would go back home. She would manually type all the information from these people into her CRM, try to recall who she spoke with, what they said, blah, blah, all manual work, just hours spent just typing away and creating notes of what happened in that particular open house, right? So what I did is I was like, okay, let's just create that. So I took that legal document that she had, one pager, I scanned it and I fed into this thing, right? So I created, first of all, a document outlining what is this that I'm trying to create. I'm trying to solve this problem for this particular niche, real estate or realtor. This is an open house going to be an open house application. It's going to be a web application. It's going to have user accounts. It's going to be authenticating users, so it needs to be secure. I need to have a database in the back end so I could store all the information we're capturing. These are the colors that the brand has. So I gave the hex code colors. This is the font that I would like to use if possible. The Google font, something easy that Replit would even have access to. All the features, like I want analytics. I want to call this whatever, open house CRM, whatever I called it. So I gave it all of the context, the background, as specific as information as I could. So the AI understands exactly what I'm trying to build, because it needs to make decisions for me, right? I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer. I don't know what technical things I need in the background, right? So it knows, it's supposed to figure that out, right? And the more context information I give it, the better. So I create a document first in Google Docs, just type away, like, what are you trying to create? Be specific, what your vision is. Feed that document to the AI in Replit, for example, Cursor, whatever platform you're testing, and let it start kind of figuring out what it needs to do. Now, there's this thing like, you don't know what you don't know, right? So I'm not a developer. There must be a bunch of things that I don't know what to say to the AI to prepare it better, right? But I can go to Gemini, I can go to ChatGPT or Claude, and I could say, I'm building this, feed that document. I'm building this from, scratch I'm going to use Replit. And I want you to tell me what are some things that an experienced developer would consider in terms of users, database, security, scalability, like, tell me what I need to know, the technical stack, blah, 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 this and that. So I could tell Replit Agent what I want, so it understands, right? So I'm educating myself first, right, to understand this stuff. And then I take that information, I could, put that in a document as well, and then feed that whole thing to Replit and then start working. That would give you a heck of a lot better chance of having something that's meaningful, so you don't waste money on Replit, because everything is credit based, right? You're burning credits. So if you're just going to start typing away, like, build me an app or build me this, and then not really give a lot of information, it'll do what you're asking it to do, but you're going to burn a lot of money in the process. It might create bugs because it doesn't fully know the full context of things. So like, it might create bugs, and then it needs to fix the bugs. And so you're just kind of like going through this iterative process of, fixing, breaking. And that's happened too. I've been on Reddit, reading comments from people, how, they've experienced that in Replit. And so the best chance of success you have is create the SOP, like standard operating procedure, but create a document of what it is you want. Research on your favorite chat AI platform, LLM, like ChatGPT or whatever, and just figure out what it is that you should do that you don't know yet. Have the AI tell you and give it context too. You're a 30-year software developer creating web applications or whatever. This is what I'm trying to build. What are some things I need to know, and tell the vibe coding platform, Replit Agent, to know, so that, we don't have bugs, blah, 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 something like that. Give it more context, and then take that information and feed it back to Replit and start experimenting and playing with it. It's really cool. It's really fun. It's leveled the field for people who want to create something like this. And this is live, actually. This is hosted. This is live for her. I just need to get her a tablet so she can start using this. But so that's the strategy, okay? Don't just start, create an account and start, typing away. You're going to be burning money. So write your spec document, give it the context dump, feature by feature, what is it what you want? And then, like, if things break, you want to kind of like reset, like go and tell it, okay, this is what we're trying to do. Make sure it understands it. Don't just constantly try to fight the agent, and try to fix bugs constantly over and over again. If you see it's not working, you got to like take a step back and just reiterate what it is that you're trying to do, like reset. And then So you could build a bunch of stuff. Like, what can you do with this? Web application, mobile application on for iPhones or Android. You could build your own CRM. You could build a quoting tool to quote your clients, for example. You could build an application just like what I did. Just think of a problem in your business that's a pain point that, man, I wish I had like a way to do this digitally or electronically or capture this. Yes, you can. Now you can do that. And heck of a lot cheaper than hiring a developer. Now, what I would say, if it's getting complicated, you could use vibe coding as your minimum viable product build. Like, you could build this so you could see it and how it functions and this and that, but it's just not there. It's not fully cooked. Sure, you can get a developer who can come in, take what you have and finish it for you, basically. Make it like really, really like not scalable, but like stable and working exactly how you want it. Um, you could do that too. But a lot of times, if it's something simple you want to build, you could do it from start to finish yourself, just vibe coding. And yeah, so pick a tool. I started with Replit. I haven't really tinkered with Lovable too much other than what I showed you. Um, and make sure you have your spec document before you start. And then yeah, so there's no limits. I mean, at this point, developers, I have a lot of respect for developers, software engineers, but this, for the average person who doesn't know anything about coding, vibe coding has just leveled the field. And so find something to do, like whatever you have in your business that's like taking too long and it's cumbersome, and see if you can make it happen here. And I wish you best of luck. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll love to answer them. Thank you.